Breaking news at 6. No Kings protests. Thousands of protesters took to the streets in central North Carolina today, what they were speaking out against. Also, politically motivated shootings. A manhunt is underway after 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses were targeted in shootings. What we know about the suspect and the victims.
Showers and storms lighting up the dual Doppler 5000 radar. How long these last into the evening, and a WRAL weather alert day for your Sunday. I'll have that coming up.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news right now on WRAL News at 6. Thousands of protesters lined streets and marched in central North Carolina today. It's part of a nationwide protest organizers are calling No Kings. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carly Haynes. Demonstrations under the same name are happening across the United States today. Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta, and Philadelphia all saw thousands of people take to the streets in protest of President Donald Trump. We have team coverage of the protests that happened around our area today. We start at the North Carolina State Capitol, where a large crowd is gathered right now. WRAL's Willie Danley joins us live from downtown Raleigh. Willie, how many people are you seeing out there?
Well, Carly, I've been out here for a couple of hours now, and it's safe to say that well over 1,000 people showed up for today's protest. You can see some of them standing right behind me holding these signs. I want you to take a look at this video. This was captured by Sky 5, and you can see just how large the crowds are here. People in attendance tell me they're here to speak out against the Trump administration and what they call illegal immigration raids taking place across the country. This protest has attracted people of all ages. The youngest person that I spoke to today was 6 years old, and the oldest was 92. Many people that I spoke to here participated in other protests that were held this week, including one on Monday that was attended by thousands, and another held this morning on Capitol Boulevard. While I've been out here, I've talked to a lot of people about why they showed up today and what they hope this protest accomplishes.
Well, for me, I'm not protesting exactly for me because I'm 75. I'm protesting for you, baby, and I'm protesting for him right there. I'm protesting for the people that come behind me, so you can have democracy.
I feel like a lot of people kind of just assume that these protests are just anti-America or anti-USA, but that's really not what we are. Like, we really do love this country, and that's why we're out here. It's because we care, but because we want change so that everyone can have the same love for this country and that everyone can feel equally loved by this country.
Right now, we're over 2 hours into this protest, and the crowd has started to disperse. They're mobilizing throughout downtown Raleigh, chanting their slogans and holding up their signs. You can hear all of these cars that are honking along the street in support of the people that are out here. I'm going to remain out here on the ground and keep you updated with what we're seeing in downtown Raleigh. Willie Danley, WRAL News.
All right, thank you, Willie. And it was a busy start to this Saturday morning on Capitol Boulevard. Protesters gathered in between Old Wake Forest Road and Oak Forest Drive starting at 11 a.m. You can see Sky 5 over that protest shortly after it began. WRAL's Heidi Kirk was there and shares what played out. Thousands of protesters lined the streets right here on Capitol Boulevard this morning.
It was a lively but peaceful crowd that gathered here, sending their message loud and clear to everyone who passed by.
Protests got us so many things. They helped refine child labor laws. They helped us get the 40-hour work week. They helped us get rid of segregation and so many things. So protests do work.
People from all across the Triangle made their voice heard in their own way, holding up different signs, dressing up and chanting for hours, lining these streets.
I wanted to represent our country.
It's a crowd that kept growing all day long. Some telling us it's not the only protest they're making today. They tell us they're addressing not only those passing by, but also sending a message to their legislators.
We need to put the pressure on them to make sure that they vote for the people, for the interest of the people.
Given this turnout, their hope is that message was heard. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, Raleigh.
In Durham, a similar scene from Sky 5. Protesters gathered for a march through downtown. WRAL's Ali Kadlabar was there and shows what the afternoon looked like.
organizers tell me that thousands of people gathered here in downtown Durham for this protest today. Some people telling me this is the largest protest they've seen since President Trump took office.
This is what democracy looks like.
Protesters gathered, marched, and chanted in downtown Durham. They carried signs and flags, walking about a half mile from CCB Plaza to Durham Central Park.
It's really great to see that so many people are concerned about the health of our country and the health of our democracy.
The protest remained peaceful as Durham police blocked at least 4 intersections.
And this is certainly the largest, and this is joyful and peaceful, and people are here to say this is America, and we are here because we support this version of America.
It all wrapped up at the park with live music and pop-ups. Now we know this is just one of many protests across the country from coast to coast. We're still working to find out how many people showed up to this protest here in downtown Durham. Reporting in Durham, Allie Calabar, WRAL News.
In Cary, people lined sidewalks surrounding the intersection of Maynard and Kildare Farm roads. Drivers honked their horns while passing protesters. The No Kings demonstration started at 10:30 this morning, but hundreds started crowding the area, waving signs and flags even earlier. State Representative Maria Cervagna was one of the participants.
I'm starting to tear up because I wish we didn't have a country right now that has to be in this situation, but this is inspiring.
The protest remained peaceful with law enforcement and fire crews standing nearby. Still ahead, we have a look at more protests that happened in our area this evening. That's going to be coming up in about 10 minutes. And the stage is set ahead of President Donald Trump's military parade in Washington, D.C. The parade celebrates the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. Events got underway at 9:30 this morning, with the parade starting at 6:30 p.m. We do expect to see a massive display of power, including 7,000 soldiers, 150 Army vehicles, and more than 60 aircraft. You can watch the parade on WRAL.com live at 6:30. You can also watch it live right on your phone on the free WRAL News app. And another top story, tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day as we expect scattered showers and storms. Meteorologist Mike Mays in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at the timeline for Father's Day. Mike.
Yeah, it should be late in the afternoon and into the evening, and we're seeing thunderstorms tonight as well. They've been a little slow in developing. It's been a hot afternoon. Watching this line moving through southern Virginia up toward Person County and Roxborough right now. I'm going to watch it over the next few hours to see if it develops to the south and west, and then eventually move through the triangle. And there are some storms over toward Rocky Mount and over toward Edgecombe County. Here's the probabilities: about a 40% chance through 11 o'clock, and a stray shower or storm can't be ruled out till about 2 to 3 a.m. And the reason why we have a WRAL weather alert day for tomorrow, I had mentioned last night that medium risk that was up to the north for flooding would be pushed farther to the south, and it has. So now that includes Raleigh. So we could see flash flood warnings and flood advisories tomorrow. Plus, we still have that level 1 risk for severe weather for damaging wind gusts. So it could be quite active. I'll show you how it could develop with Futurecast coming up.
All right, and remember, you can stay up to date on the latest forecast with our team of meteorologists. The best way to do it is with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It's free to download. Make sure to turn on push notifications so you can get all the latest important weather updates sent right to your phone.
Welcome to the WRAL News Live Center. I'm Luis Fernandez. We're following a developing situation right now in Raleigh. Wake County Sheriff's Office, Raleigh Police Department, Raleigh Fire, and Knightdale Fire have responded to a water rescue on the Neuse River near Raleigh Beach. We have video of Sky 5 around this rescue moment. Let's go ahead and take a look here. The water rescue was on the Neuse River near Raleigh Beach. Crews arrived around 4:30 p.m. No new information on the status of this rescue or any possible ramifications from it. One thing to note with this area of the Neuse River, 4 reported drownings occurred in this area last year in the spring and summer. So as we get closer to the summer here, it's important to keep all this in mind if you head out to any kind of waterways or anything like that. Carly?
Yes, got to stay safe. Thank you, Lewis. Right now, a manhunt is underway in Minnesota. Authorities, including the FBI, are searching for a suspect who, according to officials, was dressed as a police officer when he targeted 2 Minnesota state lawmakers and their spouses. One of the lawmakers and her husband were killed. Police say they're searching for 57-year-old Vance Bolter, who, according to authorities, works for a Minnesota security company. Jen Sullivan is tracking the latest details on this developing story.
This is a dark day today for Minnesota and for democracy.
Minnesota leaders and law enforcement announcing the shocking news Saturday morning that two state lawmakers, Democratic Representative Melissa Hortman and Democratic State Senator John Hoffman, and their spouses were shot in their homes. Hortman and her husband Mark were killed in what Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said appeared to be a politically motivated assassination.
Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service. She was a formidable public servant, a fixture and a giant in Minnesota.
Police say around 2 a.m. Saturday, they received a call that someone had shot Hoffman and his wife in their home in Champlin, Minnesota, a suburb of Minneapolis. Both were rushed to an area hospital to undergo surgery.
My prayers also go out to State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who were each shot multiple times.
Roughly an hour and a half later, officers went to check on Hortman's home in nearby Brooklyn Park. When police arrived, they say they saw what appeared to be a police officer coming out of the home. That person then firing a weapon at them. Police believe that individual is responsible for both shootings.
This is somebody that clearly had been impersonating a police officer.
Adding to the terror of this story, police said they found what they believe to be a manifesto inside the suspect's car with nearly 70 names, including lawmakers and abortion providers, as well as No Kings flyers referring to anti-Trump protests.
There is increased security in place for elected officials and others who may be at risk.
President Donald Trump says he's been briefed on the situation and said, quote, such horrific violence will not be tolerated. Jen Sullivan, WRAL News.
And more on that statement. Donald Trump this afternoon wrote about that shooting rather. The statement reads in part, our Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI are investigating the situation, and they'll be prosecuting anyone involved to the fullest extent of the law. Such horrific violence will not be tolerated in the United States of America. Several North Carolina leaders have also reacted to the shootings in Minnesota. Governor Josh Stein shared a statement on social media saying in part, political violence threatens our democracy and has no home in America. U.S. Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina said this is beyond horrific. Violence can never have a place in our political system. And North Carolina House Speaker Dustin Hall's statement reads, I am appalled and heartbroken by the tragic and senseless acts of political violence in Minnesota today. There is no place for these acts in the United States. A strongly worded statement from U.S. Representative Mark Harris. The murder of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark is a tragedy. The evil with which this event was planned and perpetrated by someone posing as a law enforcement officer is sickening. We must have zero tolerance for such acts in America. No Kings protests across the viewing area. Just ahead, a look at some of the other demonstrations that took place earlier today. Welcome back. The No Kings protests are happening across the country. WRAL's Luis Fernandez is in the live center with what we're following around the United States. Luis.
Yeah, Carly, as you might expect, there's been a lot of activity with the No Kings protests in major cities across the U.S. You've seen Los Angeles, which has already been seen a lot of protests in general over the past week. Philadelphia, Denver, a lot of those larger cities as well. One of the things with the No Kings protest organizers, they said that they plan on having events in every state across the country. You're starting to see the Associated Press. They're doing live updates throughout all of this. One story, fortunately, there has not been a whole lot of violence or anything along those lines. Everything has been primarily small altercations, if that. Near Atlanta, protesters had some tear gas used against them to prevent them from getting on a highway. There was some brief moments of a bit of altercation between police officers and protesters in Charlotte, but nothing major to report from there as well. All of this, of course, leading to the military parade, which is beginning to start in Washington, D.C. We'll have more on that coming up in just a bit, Carly.
All right, thank you. The No Kings Day protests did expand beyond the triangle Triangle today. Hundreds of people gathered in Fayetteville, Clayton, Southern Pines, as well as Morrisville. In Fayetteville, hundreds gathered at Linear Park early this morning to beat the midday heat. Demonstrators were carrying signs criticizing President Trump and supporting immigrants. A lively, peaceful crowd gathering in Clayton. They cheered, chanted, and waved flags as they marched along Main Street there. The demonstration lasted about 2.5 hours. And in Southern Pines, demonstrators gathered at Downtown Park on Broad Street. There were signs and speakers. And this video of the demonstration over in Morrisville was sent in by a WRAL viewer through our Report It form. This crowd gathered at the intersection of Davis Drive and McCrimmon Parkway. And when news happens in your neighborhood, share your photos and videos with us. You can go to WRAL.com/reportit to share those pictures and videos. We're going to make sure that we share them on our website, social media, and right here during our newscasts. And we saw a lot of heat and humidity while those protests were happening today. Mike, what else can we see later today?
Well, we're looking at thunderstorms in some part of the viewing area. For the most part, everybody had their protests without rain, but they had big heat. It was 92 out at RDU today. It was 90 in Fayetteville. At one point, the heat index reached the low 100s in Clinton this afternoon. Now we're seeing thunderstorms erupt. This is Roxborough and Person County. You can see the rain is just coming down in sheets. Here's a look at the live dual Doppler 5000 radar. This is Person County. There's Roxborough. You get up to northern Granville County, over toward Mecklenburg County and Halifax counties in southern Virginia. They're seeing some heavy rain, winds perhaps gusting up to 40 miles per hour, and perhaps some pea-sized hail. This continues to move to the east and will impact eventually getting over toward Vance County, which it is up in the northern part of the county there in Warren County as well. But South Hill, you got rain on your doorstep. There have been flash flood warnings to the north. There have been severe thunderstorm warnings. We'll watch to see if that cell strengthens. There's a new one developing over northern Franklin County toward Rocky Mount. It will likely be busy, especially in our northern counties, with the potential for flash flooding as we head into the evening. And in the broader view, very little going in our southern counties. And tomorrow we expect more of this to be farther to the south. I'll show you that in FutureCast coming up. Right now it's 90 out at RDU, the dew point 71. The Durham Bulls taking the field this evening against the Charlotte Knights. We hope the rain stays away from those folks. 80 in Fayetteville right now, 82 at Goldsboro. Clinton's down to 76 for the temperature, 78 in South Hill, 79 right now in Roxborough. So I mentioned last night we have high pressure situated offshore. We've got a deep flow of moisture. The precipitable water or the available moisture in the atmosphere is going up. That means thunderstorms that do access that moisture could dump some heavy rainfall, and we have an increased threat for flooding during the day tomorrow, as I showed you at the top of the newscast. Now, per the latest run of FutureCast, much of the day tomorrow may not see much rain. It may not happen until very late in the afternoon like it is now and into the evening hours. So at 6 a.m. tomorrow, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Likewise at lunchtime. And our cloud cover tomorrow will dictate how hot we get. I bumped the high back up to about 90. I'm thinking we'll have enough sunshine for that. And then thunderstorms start to develop to the north and then descend to the south per this latest run of FutureCast. There's 8 o'clock. There's 10 o'clock. Showers and thunderstorms become more widespread. Some of them could be severe. We could have some flooding with these. There's midnight, and then overnight, Sunday night into Monday morning. Still some lingering activity by 5 a.m. So when you join Elizabeth on Monday morning, there could be some activity ongoing, and more thunderstorms expected Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday afternoon as well. So early thunderstorms, and I think they'll be more confined to our northern counties from Raleigh northward. So south, you may not see a whole lot. Low to mid 70s for lows. And happy Father's Day tomorrow. Most of the day for what we're seeing right now could end up being dry until late in the day and into the evening, just like today, 90 the high. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, plenty of heat with it peaking Wednesday and Thursday in the mid 90s. Heat index values, Carly, could be around 105 to 106 during this period. And then there are a couple of dry days. Friday and Saturday as of right now look dry.
All right. Thank you, Mike. And we are just minutes away from the start of the military parade in Washington, D.C. WRAL's Luis Fernandez will have more after the break on the Army Birthday Festival that's kicking off on the National Mall.
Welcome back to the WRAL Live Center, where the beginning of this military parade in Washington, D.C., celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary, has begun a little bit earlier than initially scheduled. They are dealing with some weather issues, rain and things along those lines. So you're seeing some folks marching down with horses. You'll later see more modern military equipment, tanks and things along those lines. We can check out some different angles here as some of the different folks are moving along. We saw President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance earlier. This will be marching down the National Mall, going from Lincoln Memorial to the Washington Monument. If you want to catch any of this, you can go ahead and tune into WRAL.com, where you can watch it all coming up in the next half hour or so.
All right. Thank you, Lewis. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is searching for a man in connection to a shooting. 37-year-old Franzel Fraser is accused of shooting into a car and injuring a man. Sean Wolf was shot in his car on Huntsville Circle in Fayetteville around 10 last night. Fortunately, he was taken to the hospital and is expected to recover. Anyone with details of Fraser's whereabouts is asked to call Crime Stoppers. And a man was hit and killed by a car on South Saunders Street yesterday evening. Raleigh police say 31-year-old Kasanga Toto was crossing the street not in a crosswalk. He was hit by a Jeep Grand Cherokee and died from his injuries at the hospital. Police say no charges have been filed at this time. And crews from Durham and the Lebanon Fire Department were sent to a home on Guest Road this morning. When they arrived, heavy smoke was showing from the building. We're still working to learn what caused the fire. And that's going to do it for us at 6. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back here at 10 and 11. Have a good evening.